Welcome, Earthlings! From the minds of Dylan Oltoft and Rob McNabb, we bring you Laughing on a Prayer!
But before you go, Mr. Oltoft, there's something I want to show you. One podcaster to another. Is there something wrong, Mr. Oltoft?
Why, of course not. This is a lovely podcast of laughter. Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Alrighty then.
Loser.
Did you pay the gas bill?
They go boom chicky boom boom. My name is Cuban Pete, and the spraying of the rumba beat. When I shake my maracas, they go boom chicky boom chicky boom.
Smoking.
I was trying to think of a quote of Bruce Almighty. I was like, what did he say? What did he say? What did he say? What did he say? And I fucking dropped it.
What did he say?
He said a lot of things, but I think he quoted a lot of other things, so it would be weird to quote him doing a quote. Hello there, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Laughing on a Prayer. As you might have noticed, we are once again talking about a specific gentleman in today's episode. Someone that I would argue has absolutely influenced modern comedy in today's cinema.
Those are big words.
Would you say Deadpool would have been as funny as it had been without Jim Carrey and the body of comedy movies he did?
Is Deadpool in Jim Carrey? That's such a Deadpool.
I'm more
is
talking
Jim
about
Carrey in Deadpool is what I meant to say.
Absolutely not, but I'm more talking about comedy movies after, like, so much of, like, Jim Carrey 90s comedies. I would expect he influenced so much modern comedy movies.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely, I think, well, for us, I think definitely we, have grown up sort of with Jim Carrey as a funny man.
Oh, I could have quoted The Grinch. Fuck, there are so many good quotable lines.
Oh, do it now. You can save it. Come on.
Saving you? Isn't that what you think I was doing? I just merely noticed you weren't properly packaged, my dear. Max, pick out a bow. Can I borrow your finger for a second?
Told you we were terrorists. Sorry.
No, but that's sort of what he sounded like in The Grinch, like a melting Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
But yes.
Knock.
Who's there?
Dishes.
Dishes who?
Dishes Sean Connery. Sorry.
Yes, we are talking about the amazing comedy legend in Hollywood cinema, Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
If this is your first episode, once again, my name is Dylan Oltoft and this is Rob McNabb.
Yeah, everything you just said there is true.
And we are going to be talking about Jim Carrey, the movies he's done, the jokes he's told, what he's doing these days, or why he's not doing what he's not doing these days. And maybe even touching upon a few of the more serious roles he's done, and maybe the different interesting machinations that follow along with how good actors certain comedians are. Because I would argue a lot of comedians that have gone on to do serious roles do them better than most actors.
Yeah, I think I might have said this before, but I think it's very hard for an actor that's generally known as a comedic actor to then go into more serious stuff.
Well, yeah.
I think it's easier for an actor that's known as a serious actor. I think a good example is Leslie Nielsen, who used to be a very serious actor, but then he did like Naked Gun and Airplane, and he went into a comedic actor.
Have you ever seen Spy Hard?
Well, no, I haven't seen Spy.
Oh, that is a classic. It's got Weird Al Yankovic singing the opening intro. It's on Netflix. It's like the most hilarious. It was Austin Powers before Austin Powers.
Oh, right.
Again, Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah. But I think comedic actors going into serious stuff, that's much more of a hurdle to try and do, which is testament to a performer, I believe.
Well, yeah, a lot of people originally watched The Truman Show. I think that was one of the first serious films he did. It was either that or Man on the Moon. But The Truman Show, which is, by the way, an amazing movie.
Absolutely. Agreed.
But a lot of people watch that expecting Jim Carrey's silliness, and maybe because the trailer portrayed him doing his like big exaggerated things, not realizing that was eventually going to be like because of the satire of like TV shows and all that sort of thing. So they thought maybe it was mismarketed or on purpose or something. Like, you're gonna get the Jim Carrey you know and love when you really didn't.
Yeah. And number 23. That's a film that I would also credit him with being really rather, creepy.
I would say even his role in Kick-Ass 2, that wasn't comedic or anything, was it? Because he was playing like a gangster that, because he felt bad about being
ex-mob boss.
Yeah, an ex-mobster that felt bad about what he was doing, so he became a superhero. And even then, he was still really like... He was still violently beating the shit out of people, but so I don't know if it was necessarily comical.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I mean, Kick-Ass fucking Kick-Ass. It's a comedy action film, isn't it? But I think the thing is with as we know, as we've done a fair amount of comedy, it's like if you're gonna sort of take the piss out of something, you got to take it seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's a thing that definitely in that film Jim Carrey really did. Right, and what I also would commend that film, even though it's kind of a dumb film, but I don't know what it was, maybe it was just for me, but I saw the character that he was playing. I didn't see Jim Carrey as much, because how people say, oh, it's Jim Carrey, he's doing Jim Carrey stuff, but in that film, I was like, oh, that's actually like a character.
I get exactly what you mean.
Yeah, and I really commend him on sort of making me kind of almost forget that he was Jim Carrey in that.
I wonder if he bulked up for the role at all. You never picture like a swole Jim Carrey, do you?
I mean, he's wearing the MTP and the camo and stuff like that.
So I don't mean like obviously he didn't have a shirtless scene, but obviously it's a superhero movie and all that, and he's meant to be like a former like mob enforcer. I wonder if he did any sort of thing. That'd be interesting to know.
I think he's wearing. He wears body armor as well, doesn't he? Yeah.
If you're fighting crime, you better.
Yeah, I mean, if you're fighting it's America, mate.
But we'll get onto his serious stuff in a moment. Rob, what would you say was your first Jim Carrey movie that you can remember?
Well, you never forget your first, Dylan. And mine was Dumb and Dumber. I think this is probably maybe a first for a number of people, maybe. But mine was Dumb and Dumber.
Do you like that movie?
I do actually. I have a soft spot for that.
Did you see the sequel?
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber 2. Again, you never forget your first. Dumb and Dumber 2, it was okay, but the first Dumb and Dumber film, I think that was the first kind of raunchy film I watched when I was like a kid.
Raunchy?
Yeah, it's quite raunchy. It is. Like, there's quite a lot of sort of sex stuff in it.
I'm racking my brain right now. I obviously remember the dog car, and they kill the guy that's chasing him at the bar, guy giving him chilies and.
Yeah, but there's the part where he has like that dream where
the fantasy about giving the girl the suitcase.
There's also the part where they're in in the hot tub, and he says, "I'll split you like an old piece of firewood," and then he, it's quite a. I think that was and then there's also the fucking that part in the petrol station toilets where he nearly gets assaulted by the trucker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was a sort of like kind of I think I must have been like 10 maybe.
I guess you think of like raunchy comedies, you think like American Pie and all that.
Yeah, but the thing is Jim Carrey wasn't in that, and American Pie. Like, I will watch Dumb and Dumber again. I won't watch American Pie again.
Well, to be fair, people only watch American Pie so they can skip to the nudity scenes. But I imagine if someone's sitting down to watch Dumber and Dumber, they watch all of it as a movie is intended.
Because you like to watch Jim Carrey and not Jeff Bridges, somebody else.
I don't know.
Jeff Daniels.
There you go.
Yeah.
I do like the idea that they sold a dead body to a blind kid.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, exactly.
These aren't likeable characters.
Yeah, exactly. That was and that's what I really like about it, is the fact that sorry, I'm going to quote this. The point where they find out that my parakeet Petey, he's dead. It's like, oh man, what happened? He's like, his head fell off. oh yeah, no, he was pretty old. It's like sort of lines like that as like a kid, you're like, oh, I don't really understand because I'm a kid, I'm kind of dumb. But as an adult, I'm like, mate, that's some of the funniest shit I've heard.
I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of the movie, but like I said, I like that scene. I also do like the scene when you see Jim Carrey's character, I think his name was Dwight or something, I can't remember exactly, and he was going down the road after they had their little fight, and he turned out he traded in the car for this shitty little motorbike or moped. And then he's like, in all the years I've known you, and you've done some pretty dumb stuff, and then you turn around and do this amazing, awesome thing.
Yeah.
Like, that was that. He traded the car for...
There's another...
Was it like a dog, though?
There's two other bits in that film that I really like.
I got robbed by a lady on a motorised cart.
Yeah. I mean, that's okay. But there are two other jokes in there that I really like. The first one is... because they have this briefcase full of money. If you've seen Dumb and Dumber, you know the premise. But they've got this briefcase full of money. And they're trying to find out what her name is. And he's looking on the briefcase. Oh, it's probably her name. He goes, oh, Samsonite, which is a make of briefcase. Which is, you know, so it's like, okay. Like, obviously he's like really dumb. Funny enough, because of this. But then there's another one. And this is possibly my favourite one. Is where they're in Aspen, where they finally end up, and they see a man and woman walking, and Jeff Daniels says, "My God, would you look at the butt on that?" And then Jim Carrey says, "Yeah, he must work out." I don't know what it is. I just think that they age like wine.
I'd say the one that the internet latched onto was that joke at the end was like, so they slapped this bulletproof vest on me, like. What if he shot you in the face? What if he shot me in the face? We were prepared to take that risk.
Yeah, that was a risk.
I think the internet made a meme about that.
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, there's also, I desperately want to make love to a schoolboy.
Oh, rare.
Again, I find that... Was
that one of Jim Carrey's first ones? It must be one of his earliest. He looks like he's 17 in it.
Yeah, I just have a soft spot for like a dumb film like that. I like it.
Weirdly enough, I think my first Jim Carrey movie was actually the second Ace Ventura. I remember watching that a lot more, and then I came across the first one. So I watched When Nature Calls, and I think it was like maybe after that I found the first one.
Which is the one that has Cannibal Corpse in it as a cameo?
That is the first one.
The first one? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like...
Because he's like a fan of them, I think. And I like Cannibal Corpse like a lot.
There's a scene when Ace Ventura needs to find out some information, so he goes to his tech guy who's actually in like this lab underneath a death metal concert that's going on. He's like... Hello, do you know where Thingy is? And obviously the guy's headbanging. So he goes, thank you.
Because I will admit, I've only seen that one once. But I saw it. And I was already sort of like getting into that kind of heavier music and stuff. When I watched that film, I think I was, I don't know, like 16 maybe. I was like, mate, I fucking know those guys. And then I looked him up. And I was like, Ace Ventura, who's the band? And that's a search thing. It was Cannibal Corpse. I was like, I fucking knew it.
To be fair to them, that was pretty cool of like a fucking that band to be in like a silly comedy movie.
Yeah. Do you know the singer? Stadium was Corpse Grinder, massive World of Warcraft fan.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, he plays the Horde.
Yeah, no, he does. He's literally got like a sort of catchphrase, which is "fuck the Alliance."
Yeah.
Anyway.
When I used to play World of Warcraft, there was a whole thing like Alliance is played by the kids, adults play the Horde.
Yeah, I never played World of Warcraft. I never got into it.
Well, I guess you were too busy having sex. Anyway,
no, mate, I was too busy painting Warhammer models.
But yeah, I love. Believe it or not, there was actually an Ace Ventura TV show. There was because of how insanely successful this. There was actually an animated cartoon TV show, because there was an animated Mask movie as well. There was an animated Ace Ventura TV show.
Yeah, like, Star Wars have like animated shit as well.
Oh yeah, like the Clone Wars and that, and Rebels and stuff.
Bad Batch though, that is a quality series. Can't wait for next Friday. It's going to be good.
I say one of my favourite moments in the first Ace Ventura movie is literally right at the start, because he's disguised as a delivery driver that's taking a package, but he's kicking it the entire way. He's kicking it, and it's like a 5-minute scene. The credits are rolling, and he's like a footballer. He's whacking it. He picks it up for the elevator, but he's holding it out so the doors are closing on the package. kicks it down the hall and finally knocks on the door, like, "Delivery, sir." The guy takes the box and he shakes it and goes, "Sounds broken." And Ace Ventura goes, "Probably. I bet it was something nice, though. Can you sign here and here?" And while the guy is signing the package, he takes the dog back because the guy had stolen the dog from someone. It was like, "Probably, but I bet it was something nice, though."
Out of all the Ace Ventura moments, for me, is when he's in the fake robot rhinoceros.
Oh, in Nature Calls, when he's spying on the guy, but the door locks inside the rhino and it gets heated because they're in Africa, or...
I mean, that's where rhinos are.
They're in an African country, so obviously...
Actually, well, depending on when you listen to this podcast, rhinos were.
I'm sad now. But yeah, so obviously it's the middle of the day in a metal... and let's take a moment to appreciate the fact Ace Ventura was able to get a fucking animatronic rhino as an asset in Africa.
I will say, I'm going to out myself. When I first saw this, I was like quite drunk at the time, and it was just, I don't know if it was on, I think I was at a friend's house. I think it might have just been on TV maybe, but that was like my first exposure to Ace Ventura. Was
good
him
choice of words.
Within like this guy and like this robot rhino thing, and I was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck?" And then after that, I was just like, "I need to actually watch this film," because
I think what seals that scene is the family on the safari tour that turn up and think it's a mother rhino giving birth.
Yeah,
like the mother goes, "The mother rhino's giving birth." And at first you see it, and then they're just slightly, their faces start to askew as they see like human arms. And then after like a minute, Jim Carrey emerges fully naked, and the son in the family goes, "Cool!" And then they run away.
That was my first exposure to Ace
It started with his little fan inside the rhino that just stopped working. Like, he's finding a guy and this fan just stops. He looks at it, taps it a few times, and it just doesn't work. It's like pretty hard on these rhinos.
Yeah, and much like I can get on board with like just absurdity like that. And Jim Carrey, I think, is one of the kings of absurdity.
Oh, there was a whole montage of him tracking this guy. He's like hiding out with these hippos. They're emerging in the waters, making their ears flutter. And then Jim Carrey actually emerged and wiggled his own ears, which I don't know how people learn how to do, but he managed to do that.
I don't know.
He's hiding out with these lions while they're eating a zebra, and he's pretending to be with them.
It's like how people, you know, how like Terry Crews can like fucking flex his pecs. So I'll never be able to do that.
You can't, like, if I could do reps with my ears, I would, but I don't know how to fucking act. I can move my eyebrows, but I can't move my ears.
I'm half deaf anyway, so I don't think I need to try and do reps with my ears.
But there is... And then there's even the fucking torture scene when he kidnaps the guy, and you think he's like, I'll do whatever I have to get some answers.
Fuck!
So he's holding a knife, like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And he takes it to a plate and he starts scratching it.
Fuck that. Fuck that scene.
What, you can't stand that shit?
I actually fucking can't. I can't. Like, I can, like, some people can't do, like, chalk on chalkboards. That's fine. Some people can't do, like, felt tip shit. But scratching on plates, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just weak, but fucking hell. That scene, I was like, no. I'm fucking done. Like, no.
What about the moment after that when the guy said, "I'll never tell you anything"? So he knocked him onto the ground, leaned over him, and then started poking his eyeball, and that finally broke him.
You know what? I can deal with that. I can deal with that, Dylan. But scratching on plates, no. Go away.
When you think about it, Jim Carrey was Jigsaw before Jigsaw.
No, Jim Carrey is way more sadistic than Jigsaw.
Holy shit, how much more amazing would the Saw films have been if Jim Carrey had been Jigsaw?
I want to play key.
You had 30 seconds. That's a good amount of... There was a moment in the... Obviously, you've seen when Nature Calls, we've been talking about it. Obviously, there was the thing with the natives. When he's going through them... bad choice of words. When he's living amongst them. Obviously, do you remember the thing with the bats when he's in the cave? Because it turns out that Ace Ventura was shit scared of bats. So it was like he talks doesn't matter around.
I haven't seen it for a while, so explain to those.
He's going around a cave that's full of bats, and Jim Carrey is shit scared of bats. I'll talk about the Slinky in a moment. And basically, every time he hears this little squeak, and he's got this torch, and he's like swatting it around. He's shit scared. He hears another squeak, and he goes, "Take that, winged!" That's what he does. He throws the torch, his only source of light at it, and he says, "Take that, winged spawn of Satan!" Yeah, and then he's in complete darkness. And he hears another squeak, and he runs out the cave with a flurry of bats behind it.
This is a little bit of a sidetrack, but I remember seeing like a sort of snapshot of that, and then of a meme. And it was the title. It's like when you roll a natural 1 on intelligence.
Throws its only source of light at it. Yeah. There's also another meme because the film starts with like this guy that's coming to recruit Jim Carrey for the Avengers Initiative. No, he's just. Can you imagine that?
Can you imagine that?
Ace Ventura would have been more effective than Hawkeye.
Well, actually, it would make more sense if it was Suicide Squad because he's the Riddler.
Very good. But yeah, and basically he's recruited for this really important mission, and time is of the essence because this tribe's about to die. So what does he do? He's up the top of a mountain on this monastery of Buddhist monks. So as he's leaving, what does he decide to do?
Sounds like the beginning of Batman Begins.
Kind of like that, but there's like 10,000 steps on the way to the monastery. So what does Ace Ventura do? As he's leaving, he rolls a slinky down each individual step. Mate, and he's watching it, and he's going, "Can you believe this? Mate, it's got to be some kind of a record."
Mate, that is a big dick move.
Times of the essence. But this guy has no choice but to put up with Ace Ventura's bullshit because his employer really wants him.
Do you know?
So he stands there, and the thing is, the slinky stops just as one step is left.
Oh man!
And then he goes, "Can I do it again?"
Oh man, that's tragic comedy. Sorry, I was just thinking, like, imagine that if Jim Carrey was the Riddler in Suicide Squad, and his first riddle is, why is Jared Leto here? Why is the Joker here? What is the point of him?
Truth be told, in the animated Suicide Squad movie, Assault on Arkham, the Riddler was in that movie. He was the whole reason they were breaking in. He was the whole reason they were breaking into Arkham because the Riddler had hacked Batman's computer system that had the Justice League kill list on it.
I only played Arkham Asylum, where the Riddler has like little sort of riddle stuff.
Well, you know that Batman has contingency plans for each member of the Justice League. The Riddler had hacked that information, but then he got caught, so the Suicide Squad had to break into Arkham to get his question mark staff that had the info in it.
Yeah, but in the Arkham Asylum. That's the only Arkham game I've played. There's like Riddler, like the little question. You've played it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the little like Riddler.
I never hunt the trophies. Fuck 'em.
Do you not?
I can't be arsed. I play games to have fun.
I got stuck. Like, I had to do something. I couldn't find anything. I was walking around for ages, and then I gave up because I was like, oh, look, there's Call of Duty World at War. I can shoot at people that don't shoot back. Oh, God, that sounded really, really bad. But I was like, easy to it.
That's my biggest problem with the Call of Duty franchise, how so much of the time you're playing as the superior force. Like, it's literally the equivalent of, like, the Empire fighting the Ewoks. Yeah. And you're playing as the Empire. Like, which, when you think about it, was Space Vietnam. But
yeah, it was for those poor fucking stormtroopers.
Yeah, those fucking little Care Bears. We're getting so sidetracked.
Yeah, what the fuck are we even doing? Anyway. Back to Jim Carrey.
When you're walking around the Ming Ho Trail and you hear a tree make a teddy bear noise.
Yeah, you're gonna light that shit up, but you can't hit fuck all because plot armor.
So that's a good amount of Ace Ventura. Rob, what age did you first see Jim Carrey's The Grinch? I must have been like 8 years old, and it was in primary school. Do you remember at Christmas time when they'd show you a bunch of Christmas movies? That's when I first saw The Grinch.
Oh no! What, at school?
Yeah.
Oh no!
At your schools, did you on Christmas time before you broke up for Christmas holiday? Did you never watch a bunch of Christmas movies?
No, we didn't actually.
Oh, sad fucking school.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had like a Christmas Carol thing, and I'm not
like a play or.
Well, it was going into the acting mode. It was called a tabloid. We also had Christmas plays as well.
Where you'd sing "Away in a Manger" for an hour?
No, there would be other songs.
I hate that song.
It was quite. I quite like Christmas songs actually. I'm not hugely religious, but I like Christmas carols. And
are you talking about more the hymns or like the fucking like jingle bells?
Oh no, like the hymns. I like the hymns.
Fair.
I like the hymns. I was always one of the kings, by the way, in the Christmas nativity. You
were the one that gave frankincense, weren't you?
No.
You look the type.
No, I was the one that gave gold, mate.
You turned up with the actual present.
Yeah, exactly. I have been. This is a weird flex, but
it's a wild animal with a big horn.
I have been one of the 3 wise men or 3 kings, because it's just like we 3 kings of Orient, or sorry, whatever. I've been one of the 3 wise men, and I've always given gold, and I've done that 5 times in my life. I've been the same king for 5 times in my life.
My school once did a Beatles show. I was one of the Beatles.
Really?
I was Ringo.
Oh, Ringo.
Yeah.
So you didn't marry whatever the fuck that bitch's name is?
What, the girl from The Ring? No.
Oh, fuck.
No regrets. But yes, when did you first see The Grinch?
I first saw The Grinch on TV because he was advertised as the film that was coming out. I think
that was the first Dr. Seuss live action, wasn't it? Because as memory serves, there's that one, there's the Cat in the Hat, and then because of the Cat in the Hat...
that was Mike Myers, wasn't it?
Yeah, but then that's when they pulled the plug on live action Dr. Seuss movies.
Yeah, because, I mean...
Luckily, Jim Carrey, and this is an interesting go-between that's relevant, because Jim Carrey, as we know, has a lot of energy. We've seen him in The Mask, Ace Ventura. He is the physical embodiment of cocaine. But Mike Myers is Mike Myers. So when he was in the cat suit, he looked like he couldn't move in it. He's fighting against it. But Jim Carrey was so fluid, so flexible, and so amazing. The bit when he does the massive grin, apparently Jim Carrey did, he said this in an interview, he did lessons on how to morph his face. So only very little of that smile was makeup. The bit when he does that social interaction and he does a big grin, he apparently did CIA? He said
he did CIA interrogation.
Something like that to be able to do that massive facial
I think it was
thing.
also something to do with his contact lenses that he had to wear as well. Apparently they were incredibly painful.
Oh yeah, apparently makeup. He was up at 6 a.m. and they started filming at 11 a.m.
Yeah, again, that takes some serious commitment, doesn't it?
So the makeup and then this big hairy hot bodysuit on top of that, and you're filming all day long. Maybe you break up for lunch, but the thing is, you take
still
it
have
off.
to wear it though.
Yeah, because if you take it off, 5 hours to put back on.
Yeah, definitely.
So absolute quick shout out to the amazing commitment of doing that role.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's Mike Myers, he's one of those comedy actors who's around at the same time as Jim Carrey.
I mean, I know him.
He's sort of aged quite as.
Do you know him for anything other than Wayne's World and Fat Bastard?
Shrek.
He's
Shrek. I like Shrek. Although, what does that say? The fact that I know him more for,
not
being
seeing
animated.
Him. Yeah. I mean, do you like the Wayne's World movies?
Oh, he's also in Inglourious Basterds. No,
Mike Myers.
Yeah, he has a brief cameo in Inglourious Basterds. He's the British.
Oh, I don't
know. I'm gonna Wayne's World.
Rick Mayall was in Churchill Takes on Hollywood.
Was he actually? No
That's
way.
a good film. Anyway,
no, Mike Myers, Wayne's World, not a huge fan.
Did you like The Grinch? For a lot of people, it's a Christmas guilty pleasure. Fun fact: the opening narration of that is Anthony Hopkins.
Is there actually no way?
The guy that talks about. Through the distance in the thing lies the who's of Whoville. That's Anthony. That's Hannibal Lecter, right?
No, not a really big fan of the Grinch film.
Really? So there are no moments that made you laugh? Or...
Well, but I'm not. Well, I mean,
because it has a lot of
there were, but the film in general.
Oh, the film shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Without Jim Carrey, it would be.
Well, the thing is, like, I'm not going to sit down to watch a film that I know I don't like.
But the thing is, though, that's the problem with Christmas movies. Even if it's shit, you watch it because it's a Christmas movie. I hate that mentality, I won't lie.
Well, no, because I watch Die Hard, so, I'll watch that.
We've had this argument.
Yeah, I know. Look, if it takes place around Christmas, it's a Christmas
But
movie.
it's not about Christmas.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. If it takes place around Christmas, it's a Christmas movie.
A lot of movies take place in April, doesn't make it an Easter movie.
Yeah, because Easter isn't as, prominent as Christmas.
Well, that's moving the goalposts then.
Yeah, because they're two different things. Like, who fucking celebrates some guy dying and coming back? No, you celebrate babies being born. That's like the...
That's the weirdest sentence you've ever said.
No, it isn't. Come on,
What the fuck?
You know that's not the weirdest thing I've ever said.
Okay.
You know it's not.
You didn't like The Grinch.
Well, it's not I didn't like the... No, I actually don't.
Okay.
I just don't...
Let's expand a little bit. What didn't you like about it?
I don't actively dislike it. I'm apathetic to it.
Okay.
As in, I just don't care about it. I care about other films that Jim Carrey has done.
All right, let's talk about one of those, though. So, The Mask. Everyone loves The Mask. Come on.
Yeah,
Another show of really good facial control and makeup.
I like The Mask. I haven't watched it in a fair amount of time, I haven't watched a few Jim Carrey films in a fair amount. I haven't watched it in a fair amount of time. But what I will say about The Mask is that it's very like Jim Carrey. And it's weird and it's wacky and it's wonderful and you're just like, yeah, would I go out of my way to watch it? Probably not, but I don't actively dislike it.
Interestingly enough, the comic it is based on is actually insanely violent and gory. Like, when they adapted it into a movie, they made it really kid-friendly, like a loser guy that gets the girl from zero to hero. That was the movie. But
I haven't read the things.
The original comic, like, all the people he got his prank comeuppance on in the movie, he brutally murdered as the Mask. Like, the Mask in Edge City is known as the Big Head Killer. Like, the guys in the alleyway when he had the Tommy gun, he fucking massacred them all. Like, it is bloody as fuck.
Yeah, that 1920s Thompson, man.
I do love that one scene. There's an adult joke there when he's reaching for the balloons and he pulls out a condom and says, "Sorry, wrong pocket." He pulled out a condom.
Yeah. I haven't read the material, but I only watched the film, and obviously there's a thing about like, oh, the book was better. I imagine the reading material probably... You've read it, right? I imagine
it's night and day. One's a comedy, one's...
Yeah, I imagine the writing material I probably would enjoy maybe a bit more than the film. I don't know.
Again, one has a different intention over the other. One's intended to be a comedy and one's intended to be as bloody as fuck.
Yeah.
It's like how Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 are completely different genres.
Like Rambo 1 and Rambo 2.
Yeah, it's like you can't it's not fair to compare.
Yeah, exactly. No, I get that. Yeah.
But I'm sorry, but The Mask itself, like, again, we quoted it at the start, like, the song Cuban Pete, absolute banger. I'm sorry, fuck you, but it's so good.
I'm not disagreeing.
He escapes the park, he puts all those chains around, turns around, there's like 900 policemen and all that, he says, and all those spotlights hit him, and he gets the idea, goes, hit it! And then it cuts away and it cuts back, he's in the thing. I love how the backstory is like it's the Mask of Loki, God of Mischief. I'll go more into that in a sec. Yeah. And then he just does the dance again. Jim Carrey's bodily movements, Cuban Pete. Yeah, and Hey Pachuco in the club. Hey Pachuco, when he goes into the gangsters club and he has that, again, the absolute banger of a tune.
I think one thing I've noticed about Jim Carrey films is that you watch them and then you think, like, is there an actor that could have done the same thing? And the answer is almost always no. Like, you can't think of
maybe Gene Kelly.
Yeah, maybe, but like most of the time, like Ace Ventura, like I can't really think of another actor doing the same performance that Jim Carrey does. And I think that's another sort of staple of what is a good actor. Is like, if you can't think of a good substitute for a character,
he is too iconic.
Yeah. I just, that's it's like if you can't replace it, then that's the one, isn't it? And that's what I like about him.
If I can quickly lament, one of my favourite scenes from The Mask is at the end of the club scene in the Cuban Pete, when the gangster turns up, because Jim Carrey's character had robbed the bank he was planning to rob ahead of him, and he finds out about it, and he's like, okay, he has got a gun on him. The main gangster, real tough guy, is like, I want to know where my money is, and I want to know right now. So what does the Mask do? He puts on like an accountant's little hat, gets out one of those like stock exchange, I don't know what you call them, where you pull the thing and like things like that. Okay, you got 20% of Barnes and Lemonade. Cha-ching, and he goes,
the tickers,
Yeah, 3% is in stars. Cha-ching, 4% is.
Yeah.
He was Deadpool before Deadpool, just absolutely trolling serious situations. I love it.
Yeah, I love that. I definitely have a soft spot for like absurdity and stuff like that, and it's like moments like that. It's like you have someone pointing a gun at you, and then you do something like that, and it gets that it crosses that line. It's just like, what is going on? But it doesn't even matter how absurd it is. But like the fact I'm always happy to be along for the ride.
Yeah,
it's like this is so weird, but I want to see what happens, Do you
think if you got hold of The Mask, knowing what it would do and what sort of thing, would you put it on just to see what would come out? Let me add a bit of context there. Again, this is actually relevant to the comics. Now, as they mentioned in the movie, The Mask is supposedly of Nordic thing. It's based on Loki, the god of mischief. And as you can remember from the old film, he causes a lot of mischief, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But in the idea of the mask itself is that it lets you release all of your inner sort of thing. Like Stanley Ipkiss is an absolute loser, again, in the comics and all that sort of thing. So it gives him, the mask gives him the ability to be everything he wants to be. Suave, cool, powerful, psychotic and all that. Basically, the mask makes you do everything you suppress yourself from doing. Everything you lose all inhibitions, all sense of morality. You can be yourself in your purest form of humanity, of what you are as a person. Everything you want to do, you do it. That's the mask.
Yeah.
Stanley wants to take all this money, kiss the pretty girl and all that sort of thing. What do you think the mask would do to you?
Oh, mate. Fucking hell.
Sorry to put you on the spot there.
Yeah, no, well, it may do everything I want to.
If it helps, I'll go first. Part of me feels like if I put on the mask, this sounds really egotistical, but because I exercise a lot, my mask form would probably look jacked as fuck. I wouldn't really care about looking suave. I'd probably look like Hercules sort of thing. I'd like go to strongman competitions and like Saitama when he was auditioning for the One Punch Man, like when he was auditioning for the superhero contest. I would absolutely like take the heaviest shit, lift it with one finger. I'd be an absolute dick, and I'd probably be a horny asshole as well because I'm an absolute pervert. I wouldn't be a rapist. I have no feelings about that, but I'd make it so that women absolutely wanted to fuck me, which is, I guess, is like an incel's dream.
It's like in Misfits, isn't it? There's that. Well, but it's like, have you watched Misfits?
Yeah.
Yeah, the character that has like this power that like once someone touches her, like they
tell the truth.
No, they like instantly want to have sex with her.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, like that. I probably would do it. Nothing good would come of it. To other people.
Don't want to voice your hidden desires.
No, I mean, I've got a few people, on a list for weird reasons.
That's not suspect.
Yeah, no.
I hope I'm not on this list.
No.
For whatever reason.
No, because I'd probably like rob a bank and share half of it with you. So,
but money is a means to an end. Why do you want the money for? If you have no inhibitions. What is this money going to be for?
Buying stuff.
So your mask would...
I mean, just because you don't have inhibitions doesn't mean the rest of the world doesn't exist.
I have inhibitions.
No, but like, just because I don't have inhibitions when you're wearing the mask doesn't mean that money doesn't matter.
So your version of the mask would maybe unlock your avarice and greed, that you force yourself to suppress. Interesting.
Yeah, I'd do that, and then I'd give money to you because I want you to be rich.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Ditto. Like, I would do the same, like, won the lottery and shit.
Exactly.
Quick thing, let us know down in the comments what you think the mask would unlock for you. I want to see some of that shit.
What else would I do?
I'd love to see the mask, like my green face, but with a big head of like hair, looking absolutely jacked. A sword in one hand and a dildo in the other. That sums me up.
I'd have a dildo in one hand and then a dildo in the other.
I don't know. I feel like your mask would be strapping.
Yeah, no, definitely I would. I'd have a dildo in one hand, dildo in the other. Have some sort of really obscure, cool rifle on my back that only I would have like a. I don't know, like a really rare sort of...
Remember, the mask can pull out any gun he wants.
Oh, yeah, cool. I'd pull out, like, the rarest sort of shit. Like, stuff that they only make...
Like an antique gun, maybe.
Yeah, or something that, like, you know, they are, like, a manufacturer only made 5 of. Or something like that.
Do such things exist?
Yeah. I mean...
Are these, like, old World War guns sort of
Well,
thing?
I mean, things like... I don't know.
I wonder if there's a division of... Because obviously during the war, they were trying to make the newest, best weapons. There must be so many failed weapons. I wonder what those were like. I'd love to...
There are so many. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't use them because they'd probably blow my hand off, but... You know.
Well, old-fashioned muskets were known for that, weren't they, sort of thing? Losing thumbs and fingers and all that.
Yeah, revolvers as well. They were probably the worst for it because like that was a handgun that was like the first repeating sort of handgun.
Well, chambers are usually quite secure. Like you'll rarely jam with a chamber gun, wouldn't you?
I mean, all guns have a chamber. Like a revolver. Revolvers.
Well,
do
Luger's
jam,
not a chamber, is it?
Well, no, every gun has a chamber. So
I guess I mean a barrel. I meant to say a
revolver.
Barrel.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that like. You know, you've got the bullet in you've got the round in the barrel, but then there's like a gap between the actual barrel of the gun that actually shoots out the bullet and the revolving bit. I can't remember what his name, but the guy that created the 44 Magnum, he blew up so many fucking revolvers trying to make that round work. And that's the sort of shit that you use to, like, if a bear is charging at you, that's the sort of gun you use to go.
I remember a really good handgun is a favourite of mine. It came to my attention through the Metal Gear Solid franchise due to fucking a revolver Ocelot, and it was the Colt Single Action Army.
Yeah, Colt Single Action Army, Civil War.
And it would be introduced as like 6 rounds, enough to kill anything that moves.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're getting distracted on guns here. We'll talk about that in another episode.
I would
back to The Mask. Any closing thoughts on that? We'll move on to some other Jim Carrey movies. Would you say
this is like a really shallow thing?
Okay, I want to hear this.
But be able to have like just the nicest booze that I could just pull out. Have that.
Your mask would be a drunk. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. A drunk with guns. That's definitely not a recipe for destruction. Oh wait, that's the whole premise of the film.
So an American mask.
Yeah, boy.
I'm joking.
Actually, no. Well, it wouldn't be an American mask. No, because like that's the thing with America. Is like you can carry a gun on your hip, but you can't carry alcohol in public.
Oh yeah, you have to put it in a brown bag.
Yeah,
don't you?
Exactly.
Well, you can have open carry, but it has to be like concealed, doesn't it? Like
because that's concealed carry. You have to have a license to conceal carry to like conceal a gun. But having open, I think I'm just talking about Texas. But it's like you can carry a gun on your.
Oh, like the people that go into Walmart with a rifle on their back.
Exactly. That's open carry. But you're not allowed to.
How do you qualify for that? Can you just apply for it?
No, concealed.
Surely you have to have a good reason to want to do it. Like, I want to have a rifle on my back at all times. How do
No, you don't, because it's the Bill of Rights, not the Bill of Reasons. They just have a right to do it because it's America. But you're not allowed to carry alcohol in public. Like, what is that?
Oh yes, don't want to send a wrong message to the kids.
That's the one. That's the one thing. It's like, really? Why can't I drink a beer out in public in America?
I guess because obviously alcohol you kill yourself, guns you kill others.
I don't know. I think a lot of people shot themselves with guns.
Let's not dive further into this rabbit hole.
Anyway,
okay,
yeah,
I want to quickly go on to one of the more lighter but still influentially popular. Maybe not necessarily because of Jim Carrey. Let's quickly talk about Bruce Almighty, who, as we know, as God, is the amazing Morgan Freeman. Quick thing, if we'd had anyone other than Morgan Freeman as God in Bruce Almighty, do you think it would have been as popular? It's a fun movie. Absolutely no one ever mentions Jennifer Aniston as his wife because she's boring as toast. But Jim Carrey has some fun moments, like if you had the power of God, what would you do? And obviously the first thing he does is abuse it to fuck, which I think is very human.
Yeah, I'd do it.
Morgan Freeman lets him be God for like a week, and he gives himself everything he wants. He fucks around with people. He like acts as a selfish, spoiled asshole.
I don't know. I don't think I would. No. Do you know what I would? I'd give myself everything I wanted. I'd fuck around with the people that I don't like. I'd do it, and like you said, like it's very human.
Like, would you? How far would you go though? Would you be like him and maybe just prank people to make them feel looks like shit, or would you maybe? Perhaps your corruption might run deeper and you genuinely ruin lives.
Because I don't hate anyone that much, but I'd make them like shit themselves in public or something. I don't actually hate I don't actually hate anyone that I like.
I'd be even more subtle than that. I'd see someone I didn't like maybe if I was at like a Costa or for you Americans a Starbucks, and I saw someone being rude to the barista, I would like twizzle my finger, and then suddenly they have a hangnail. And that's just going to ruin the rest of their day.
Yeah, or I'd fill their like coffee cup with like cow jizz. And then I'd be. Don't get me wrong.
Wait for them to have made the coffee first, and then snap your fingers, and it's in there.
Don't get me wrong. I'm going to be petty as fuck. All right, I am not the bigger man here. Okay, I've never claimed to be, and I never will be. I will make like there'll be someone that I don't like, and they'll be at work. I'll make them shit themselves at work. All right, like furious bumpy, just fucking waterfall of. It'd be.
I don't know. In my experience of what I've been at work, it would mess him up, but then I'd have to clean up the mess if someone shat themselves in my own bar.
I wouldn't be working at the same place.
Okay.
I wouldn't be working at the same place. Don't worry about that. I don't know. I might wait outside of like their house or their loved ones till they're having sex, make them piss themselves, something like that.
But once again, though, if Morgan Freeman hadn't been God in that movie, do you think it would have been good? Because it had a really shit sequel, Evan Almighty, with the guy playing Steve Carell.
He's good, though. He's good in Get Smart.
He's good in Anchorman. He can be funny. I'm not a big fan of the American Office, personally, so he can do crap.
I mean, to be fair, I'm not really a fan of the British Office either, so...
He was in a really good movie called The Big Short, which is about how the banks fucked America over, called The Housing Crisis. He was really good in that. But, I couldn't think of anyone else that could have been more... Actually, yes, I can. Yeah. Do you know who would have been a much better God?
Who?
Rob, you'll know.
Oh, what? Fucking...
Christopher Walken. He could have... Oh, wait, no. He was already kind of God in Click, wasn't he? As the angel. Yeah. Okay. So that could have been an audition tape. He could have been God.
Have you seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yeah.
Andre Braugher, mate. Captain Holt. I'd make him God.
Oh, his deadpan is great.
Yeah, exactly. And because he's like sort of a commander, like he's in charge of people. I think that could be. But
there's a lot more like heartfelt speeches towards the end, like especially that speech Morgan Freeman does. Where he says,
he can do
"You want a miracle? Be the miracle."
Oh, no,
do you think he really could have delivered that?
He absolutely can. Andre Braugher, definitely. Have you not seen?
I've seen it, and he's hilarious as deadpan. But I think you need Morgan Freeman's soul. For that.
Man. Like, have you seen season 5, 6? No, season 5.
I've seen random episodes.
Okay, right. So there's a great season in it, and the Brooklyn Nine-Nine, is a quirky, like, funny thing. But there's a thing where Terry Crews is in it. He gets
you're about the one who's like the
wrongly
racist
profiled, and then he has a heart. Like he can do. Andre Braugher can do serious
stuff.
I've
seen that thing, and he talks about Terry Crews talks about what if that had been my daughters, and they hadn't been a cop, they could have been in trouble.
Andre Braugher does and the fact that he's like Captain Holt is like gay and black, and he talks about like how he has struggled. He can do serious acting. I think he could have done it. I think you could have done it.
You
maybe
know what?
this
I'm
is just
coming
me.
round. You've kind of convinced me. I could see that.
Maybe this is just me because I love deadpan stuff. I'm probably biased. I definitely am biased.
Quick question: do you think Sam Jackson could have done it? I'm not talking snakes on a plane, Sam Jackson. He has done some stuff.
Yeah, I think it might have been a little gimmicky.
Maybe.
I think
I would like to see Jim Carrey and Sam Jackson in a movie. Like imagine them as a buddy cop sort of thing.
I think maybe Sam Jackson I think that might have been a little bit sort of like, oh look, it's Sam Jackson playing God. Ha ha, funny. Rather than Morgan. I think Morgan Freeman sort of had the. I don't know. I don't know.
Let's quickly go back to talking about Jim Carrey, who's the head of the episode. In that movie, he had some funny moments. Again, he had that moment with the Jim Carrey. It's a good. With Jim Carrey. When he does a Clint Eastwood impression, he did that quite well. Actually.
Yeah.
I'd say he was good because, again, Jim Carrey can play the straight man, which is what he starts off as. A straight man who's not appreciating what he has, striving for more, not seeing what's in front of him, always looking ahead, that sort of thing. And then he gets the God powers and he gains perspective and he begins to love life. That sort of standard formula.
Yeah.
And obviously, but I think there's a lot of really good moments. Again, he's really funny and it reminds me a lot of the movie Falling Down, of the everyman that's really struggling to be a good person in the kind of world that constantly shits on him. Like, he tries to help the homeless man and a Latino gang beat the shit out of him, key his car. You know, the asshole in the office gets all the good jobs, and he's just really, and he's pissed off his girlfriend and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think it plays a lot more on the sort of, it's one of his comedy movies that I would argue is not focused on comedy, if you get what I mean. The bit when he's abusing his God powers, that's where the comedy comes in. But until then, it's a lot more sort of like a drama.
Yeah. And I think there's definitely there's something to be said for the kind of, the tragic kind of character that, that kind of starts off, the one that you feel sorry for.
Yeah.
And then he gets powers, literal God powers. But then it's one of those things, I mean, like we just talked about it. The fact is, like, if I had those powers, I'd probably be doing the same thing. And that's what makes him relatable. The fact that you're like...
If you say you wouldn't, you're kind of lying.
Yeah.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah, isn't it? Like, having sort of that thing, it's like everyone likes to say, oh no, I would use it for good. It's like, no, you wouldn't.
It's the same people that say, oh, if I won the lottery, I wouldn't let it go. I'd still live my normal life.
Yeah, it's like, the thing is...
No, you wouldn't. You'd walk past and think, I have the money for that television, I'm going to buy it. And it escalates from there.
Yeah, if I won the lottery... Yeah, the fact is that you haven't, so...
Everyone's able to say what they wouldn't do when they're not presented with the situation.
It's like the thing. It's like, there's this whole thing of, oh, this celebrity sold out. It's like, yeah, okay, so you're telling me that if you had the opportunity to sell out, which, by the way, you don't, that you wouldn't? Yeah, shut the fuck up. Yeah, sit down.
If you were offered 10 grand on TikTok, and maybe you have a family, maybe you don't, maybe you need a holiday, maybe this could pay for your wedding, to, like, shake your ass on TikTok, you're going to say no. No, you're not.
Yeah, no,
you're going to do it, because the internet forgets in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, until they don't, when you do like a slightly raunchy tweet from 10 years ago, and in which case you're fucked, mate.
I will say that about Jim Carrey. He's managed to... it's like Keanu Reeves. He's never been sketchy.
Oh, he has a little bit, with
really?
his wife. Wife, like, kill herself or something, and then there was like a whole thing.
Not because of him? Was it? Or...
No, there was some sort of shit about that.
The only drama I recall Jim Carrey was when after Kick-Ass 2, I think it was after a school shooting or something, he stopped he said he'd stopped doing like violent movies.
Yeah, I don't know why he did that. I think that's kind of dumb, to be fair.
It did come off as maybe like a Hollywood statement, but if you recall, Jim Carrey, like, he's been through like depression and all that sort of thing, like, and as a comedian, it's actually kind of bleak, the idea, like, when you think about it, so many comedians, especially the most popular, go through some serious depression. Again, Jim Carrey, Robin Williams and all that.
Exactly. Why do you think we're doing this fucking podcast, mate?
Comedy kind of breeds entropy. But Jim Carrey's dealt with like some really serious depression and all that shit. But we're not going to go into that, but it's an interesting perspective on how close the bleakness of emotion comedians are. And we haven't talked about The Truman Show.
Oh yeah, Truman Show.
We referenced it earlier how a lot of people were expecting comedy Jim Carrey and they received, and again, I love the Truman Show. It actually towards the end makes me kind of cry when he's on that boat towards the end and they're hailing him with the storm. It's a really good indictment on the idea of the spirit of humanity. Like if we realised we're in a cage, we'll come out of it. Sort of like the Matrix sort of thing, but like a human, like it's humans' natural ability, natural instinct to find freedom wherever we can.
I feel that with that film, the reaction probably would have been different if it was reversed. So like people thought it was going to be a really funny film, and then it was quite poignant at the end. And so that's a bit like, you know, the end of Blackadder Goes Forth, where it's been comedy and then it's poignant. But I feel like if people thought it was a serious film and then turned out to be a dumb film, they would have probably actually not liked it as much as they did.
Yeah, I think they chose a lane and they stuck with it, which I think was absolutely the right choice. They made it if they'd done what they did with Blackadder Goes Forth, I think the whole meaning behind the point of the film would have been lost.
Yeah, and I think if they
people would just watch it and then skip the ending.
Yeah, and I think also if they advertised it as Jim Carrey being serious, people might not have watched it. They'd be like, "Oh, comedy actor's trying to be serious. I don't think it's going to be good." Like that. I think that sort of would have settled in people's mind. I think if they tried to make it look like like the film that it actually was, people might not have watched it as much.
Quick thing, what do you think is harder, film comedy actors to get into serious acting, or TV actors?
I said this earlier.
Or TV actors?
Well, nowadays TV actors, it's much easier to get into film because TV is so big now.
Like with hour-long sort of things.
And you have like series and stuff like that.
Because there used to be a thing with like sitcoms and all that. Like for example, after Scrubs finished, like the actor that played JD, Zach Braff or something like that.
I didn't watch
Zach something tried to get into film, but he couldn't because he was like only ever seen as that character from that TV show.
That's typecasting.
Yeah, exactly.
That's typecasting.
Would you say typecasting is good or bad?
Typecasting is good in the way that it can be a safe bet for a certain film. So like if you want to, so like Bruce Willis is typecast, right? So if you want to make a film with a character like that, you get Bruce Willis. You know that people are going to watch it. That's fine.
Is that good or bad for the medium of cinema though? Like we're not really doing anything different. It's just more of what you know.
No, but there's the formula. You take more of a risk when you have actors that are known for one thing, you try and do something more. And
but
again,
how much
the industry
have we got with that? Like Paul Rudd, like he done like crap before, like Ant-Man and all that, and then they took a risk. And how many times has that paid off? Chris Pratt, Paul Rudd, like again, the MCU
Chris Pratt's always been a comedy guy.
I don't know about comedy. Like, what about the Jurassic Park movies?
But those are like popcorn fodder films.
Okay, that's fair.
Right,
Monster movies.
But he's been in, he's been in the American Office, Star-Lord. He's funny in that, isn't he? Like he's known as like a kind of a funny guy.
I mean, you say Jim Carrey's typecast as the comedy wacky guy, right?
But the thing is, it's few and far between, really, isn't it? Like a film industry doesn't really care if they typecast people. They don't want to subvert stuff. They just want to make.
Yeah, like, the people with the producers, executive producers, they don't give...
Because they're the guys that are putting their money on the line. And can you blame them? Really? Not really. I don't think you can.
I can't blame them. But then I ask, why are you in this industry? If you're in this industry for money, I would say there are better ways to make money. Like you need to have some sort of artistic pursuit.
I don't know, man. I don't think there are better ways to make money. It's like if it ain't broke, don't
banking,
fix it.
The stock market.
Yeah, but they're filmmakers. Like if they're good at what
I'm not
they
saying
do.
Obviously Endgame made 14 billion or something like that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like if it's like why bet on the horse that might not win when you can bet on the horse that definitely will?
But how many horses that might not win that people bet on ended up making fucking trillions?
Very few.
Very few, don't get me wrong. And I know there's been plenty of like financial flops.
So exactly. So why risk it? Like if you got the formula, why risk it?
Well then by your
argument... That's the game.
Well then by your argument, the Truman Show should have never been made.
No, I didn't say it shouldn't have been made.
Because it's going against the typecast.
No, I didn't say it shouldn't have been made. I'm saying that you can take... But the thing is, with the truth, is that it was advertised as a certain thing, that people knew that the backers knew people would watch.
Well, that's just because Jim Carrey's name's on it.
Yeah, star signification. Again, star signification, they know that Jim Carrey is a sure thing. So there we go. Right? They bet on a sure thing, which was Jim Carrey.
What do you think would be the weirdest star signification? Like, imagine if it was a World War II drama and you saw fucking, I don't know, Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Well, I mean, the thing is like, there are stars...
Like,
so,
what's a Samoan giant bodybuilder doing in, like, World War II Auschwitz or something?
Well, have you seen... Well, it's like Attack the Block. Attack the Block, that was advertised as if Nick Frost, you know, from, like, Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, was going to be a big part in it. He wasn't at all.
I haven't seen it. Was he alright?
He's barely in it. The film's very good, actually.
Okay.
But
is that the story about the Jews that took over a camp and actually...
What? Attack the Block.
Okay, I thought we were talking about World War II here.
No. There's separate film called Attack the Block. It's about sort of, estate kind of London estate teenagers that they find an alien, then aliens invade.
Oh my god, my partner loves that film.
Yeah, it's a really good
Is that the
film.
one with John Boyega in it?
Yeah, and Jodie Whittaker as well.
I know that film. It's
exactly.
Interesting.
But it was advertised as if like Nick Frost was going to be a big part in it, but he wasn't at all. But because everyone loves Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, they plastered him all over the place to advertise it so people would watch it for Nick Frost. But he was barely in it.
They did the same thing with Bryan Cranston in the Godzilla movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And they killed him off halfway through it.
They've also done it in the Godzilla versus Kong with Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things. They've done it. It's star signification. Like, that's what it is. And the thing is, that's it. You're betting on a sure thing because people love those characters. Especially, Bryan Cranston was just coming off Breaking Bad. And so, obviously, like, everyone fucking loves that show. Wouldn't rewatch it though, to be fair. But
what, the Godzilla movie?
No, Breaking Bad. Not really.
You do struggle with rewatch value.
Yeah.
Because there are so many slow episodes.
Yeah,
we might do an episode one day about Breaking Bad. Because me and Rob used to spend nights talking about it.
Yeah, so we can definitely spend an hour talking about it.
I feel like we've done a real disservice to Jim Carrey here. We've gone over an hour now.
He's famous and rich enough. He doesn't care about two idiots on the internet talking about how much we love him.
He's done so much good stuff. We can agree, absolute comedy legend, right?
Oh, absolutely. He will definitely be one of the greats. He will go down in history. He'll be, how we have like our parents talking about great comedy actors and stuff like that.
Right. Oh yeah, like the two Ronnies and
all. Stuff like that. We'll be the people talking about back in our day we had Jim. We'll be those fuckers. And because he's
do you worry about the future of comedy at all?
I don't.
Will there ever be another Jim Carrey?
Right.
I don't.
Not
think
another
so.
Jim Carrey. No. Much like there won't be another Robin Williams. You can't remake the Wizard of Oz, the original, can you?
I'm trying to think of modern, maybe younger comedic actors, and I'm genuinely struggling.
I think the thing is though, is that like, if you can replicate something, then you're not that special.
Yeah.
So like the fact that you can't replicate Jim Carrey or like Robin Williams means that they are special.
Well, they're just those two are such unique souls. And again, maybe that's tied to the fact they shared very similar troubles with each other. But they're such unique souls with their own brand of what they do with each other. It's literally, they were literal snowflakes, but the good kind. Not the ones that cry because they see a label they didn't like.
To be fair, Robin Williams did a lot of snow in his day.
I saw his stand-up shows. Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Anyway, that's been the Jim Carrey episode. Lay us down in the comments your favourite scenes with Jim Carrey. Be it from Ace Ventura, The Mask, Man on the Moon, The Truman Show, Bruce Almighty. The list does indeed go on. I don't know if he's done much voice acting work, but let us know if he has down below in the comments.
Yes, and until next time, y'all have been listening to...
Laughing on a Prayer.